1941, the Nazis established a ghetto in Theresienstadt, a garish town in northwestern Czechoslovakia. Theresienstadt was not built for World War II, it had other purposes. The forts that housed and worked the Jews that were brought to Theresienstadt were built for the monarchy of Czechoslovakia. Theresienstadt was a star-shaped camp that existed for 3.5 years. In 1944, the Red Cross took a visit to Theresienstadt concentration camp. These pictures were taken by the Red Cross on their visit. It was presented to America as a model Jewish settlement and was also used for propaganda around Germany. Hitler told the world that the Jews entering Theresienstadt were going to be protected and were placed there to avoid the stresses from the war. Of course, this was a lie. Hitler produced a propaganda film to show the great conditions of Theresienstadt. Most of the cast were afterward deported to Auschwitz and killed immediately. The village of Theresienstadt and Theresienstadt concentration camp was spruced up for the occasion. Also, SS intensified deportations to alleviate overcrowding for the Red Cross. 7,503 were deported to Auschwitz in 2 days' time. Shops were filled with an assortment of wonderful things: food, toys, clothing, etc. Flowers were planted and lights were placed around the village and the camp. Certain Jews were selected to give tours to the Red Cross, and others were placed around the carefully selected route that the Red Cross would take. Jewish men, women, and children also put on shows, soccer games, and operas for the Red Cross. Jews were told to smile and act as if being brought to Theresienstadt was the best thing that ever happened to them. If they did not obey, they would be punished later on. Punishments included shootings and hangings. Theresienstadt was not a regular extermination camp, it was more like a ghetto. Theresienstadt specialized in transferring Jews to the death and extermination camps around Germany and Poland. More than 88,000 Jews were deported from Theresienstadt to be murdered at various other camps. Theresienstadt was known for holding the somewhat superior Jews. He used these Jews in propaganda to convince the world and Germany that the Jews were all right. The special Jews included musicians, authors, doctors, actors, and many others. The people of Germany saw these Jews being taken to Theresienstadt and they thought it was a good thing. They had no idea. A study reported that Theresienstadt held enough Jewish musicians to create 4 full symphonies. Other Jews taken to Theresienstadt were the elderly. Later on, it became known for the deporting of elderly to Auschwitz. The elderly were brought to Theresienstadt under the impression that it was going to be like a spa town where they could retire happily and peacefully without any worries. More than 155,000 Jews passed through Theresienstadt. 35,440 Jews died inside Theresienstadt walls.